River Enyau is more than just a stream of water. It is like a lifeline for over 400,000 people in Arua district and Arua city and many more in the surrounding districts. But over the years, this vital resource has come under increasing pressure from the community.
This is the Enyau, where Enyau starts. That point is here.
From its source at the Uganda Democratic Republic of Congo DRC border in Orivu village, Vura sub-county, Arua district, River Enyau begins a long journey, eventually feeding into the River Nile. Along the way, it supports households, farms, and businesses. To protect this fragile ecosystem, the National Water and Sewage Corporation, with support from the World Bank under the Integrated Water Management and Development Project, launched a comprehensive intervention focused not just on the conservation but on people too. The project's intervention was to implement measures that can sustain quality and quantity of water for thousands of people depending on it. The solution came in 4 lots: civil works including stone gabions to stabilize the collapsing banks, and demarcation of a 30-meter buffer with concrete markers, tree planting and agroforestry measures to restore the degraded buffer zones, livelihoods so that communities benefit directly, and awareness to tie it all together. The project formulation and implementation was supervised by Worldwide Fund WWF Uganda Country Office.
In this project, our goal was to reduce water treatment costs, prevent river from drying up, and protect the primary water source for the Arua city and surrounding districts. In this initiative, we have been able to work with local communities and mobilize them to ensure that communities can actively participate in restoring of this important river source.
For Chandiru Kristen, a retired civil servant, this project has opened a new chapter.
The children are very excited, they're happy, and we're just looking for how we can sustain it. We have planted some of these reeds from outside there, the reeds which we can give to them and they eat it. And we have also planted potatoes. Sometimes that's why we can just pick, for emergency we can go and pick it for them. And at times we go and look for the feeds from outside with the children.
Chandiru is part of the Onzivu Rabbit Group, one of the several livelihood groups formed under the project. Through support from Apiworks Limited, communities along the catchment have been organized into groups of 30 members, each choosing income-generating activities such as rabbit rearing, goat keeping, and beekeeping. 4 apiary groups, 4 rabbit groups, 3 goat rearing groups were formed under this arrangement.
We chose rabbits because we feel it is easier to keep. They are manageable. We can look for their feeds. We can clean their place, and then they give us quicker income than the other projects.
This is one of the goat pens with the goats. We have supplied the groups, and the groups are formed based on advice from each administrative units, especially the community development officer. Numbers were limited. People were put 30 in the numbers, and we have given here 25 goats, which is now in progress and started producing. For beekeeping, there's also in other places, other groups, they choose what they really want to do.
Across the catchment, women and youth have been mobilized, trained and equipped not just with animals, but with skills in enterprise development, animal husbandry, and sustainable practices. However, protecting a river requires more than livelihoods. Under civil works, engineers from WML Consultant Engineering Limited moved in to stabilize some of the most vulnerable sections of the river. Stone gabions, wire mesh filled with rocks, have been installed at critical points like Opevu and Odianyadri Nile School bridges. These structures hold the soil in place, preventing erosion and reducing siltation. Concrete pillars now mark protected zones along more than 19 kilometers of the river, guiding communities on where not to farm or build. Nature itself is also part of the solution. Through large-scale tree planting, over 700 hectares of degraded land have been restored along the 19-kilometer of the project area. Indigenous and commercial species ranging from bamboo to fruit trees now line the riverbanks. Buffer zones have been re-established and riverbanks once bare are slowly turning into green again.
Of recent, there has been an upsurge of interest in growing cocoa, and it's proven in some neighboring districts and even here in Arua that it does extremely well. So it's one of the agroforestry schemes that many of the farmers who are within the catchment area for River Enyau, where we're doing source protection, are taking up, and we're supporting them to do this, combining this with the soil and water conservation measures. So we have demonstration farmers that we're working closely with. We have trainings for them, and then we give them seedlings and support them in establishing that.
At the heart of it all is the community. Through the efforts of Rural Initiative for Community Empowerment, RICE, West Nile, awareness campaigns have reached deep into villages through meetings, radio programs, and continuous engagement. Over 2,000 households have been registered and sensitized, ensuring that people understand what is being done and why it matters.
We had organized the 30 sensitization meetings, targeting all the parishes and wards in this project. So from there, I think their leaders were able to also speak directly to the people within the river, and they were able to listen and really follow the guidance given by the stakeholders. So that was not enough. So in those sensitization meetings, we also ushered in some of the contractors we are working together with. So this was also to slot in for them to introduce their packages, and then how they intend to use the communities.
The results are already visible. There is reduced erosion, improved water quality, and stronger empowered livelihoods.
We have reduced on our operational costs in terms of how much chemicals we're using, because previously we had a lot of activities within the buffer, and then we're having a lot of contaminated water. Right now, because of the interventions we have undertaken, is that we are seeing a reduction in the operational costs in terms of how much money we are spending on chemicals, the quantities, and then also in terms of how much money we are spending on replacing pipes, pumps that clog. So it has helped us to improve on the operational costs.
Perhaps most importantly, there is a growing sense of responsibility among the people who depend on the river.
It has helped in terms of quantity because people are no longer diverting the course of the river. Previously, people were diverting the river above course into their gardens and everything. But right now, because of the sensitization and the interventions we have done, the river is now flowing. We are receiving enough water at our intake. So we find that during the dry spell, we are not having a lot of challenges because of most of the water being trapped, being held upstream. Most of the water is now coming at our intake structure, and we are now having operations running.
Protecting River Enyau is not a one-time effort. It is a continuous journey, one that depends on partnership, commitment, and the community. Because when a river thrives, so do the people around it.